Schön, dass heute bei uns ist und den Auftakt macht, denn der Erste hat es bekanntlich immer ein bisschen am schwierigsten. Buongiorno, Carlo Nuvolari.
Buongiorno. So, good morning. Thank you, Martin, for inviting me here. Very, very proud to be. Thank you very much. So, I will talk about a lot of things, nothing specifically. Okay? So, let's talk about what we do, what we are lately doing. So we founded the company, me and my business partner, Dan Leonard, 30 years ago. So it's quite a lot of time we are around. And we did a lot of boats, hundreds of boats, maybe thousands of boats, because we have two main business streams. One is the fiberglass production boats. And in that case, our customers are the companies. We are not relating to the private, to the owners. Only when the boat starts to be above 80 feet, the yards involve us in some customization, or they want us to meet the customers to help them in marketing the boats. The other sector is the large yachts, and of course, one-off. These are examples of production boats. We serve a lot of brands. These are the latest that we did. These are French boats, as you can see. So the smallest boat we are doing at the moment is 30 feet. Is the remake of the Monte Carlo 30. You may know it in Monaco. There are plenty of these little fast boats. I have one, 51 knots with old Crusader V8 engines, non-electronic engines, fantastic. Very noisy, very noisy. It's fantastic when you start them up in Venice is something. Yeah. Here are examples of boat we did in US with the Genmar Group under the Carver and Marquis trademark. It was very interesting, built in Wisconsin. It was a venture to work there. But for instance, the boat in the middle, let's see if it's working like this. Yeah, this one, we did 240 pieces. So it was a business, actually. And was interesting to follow the production and to upgrade the design, the model year. So it was nice, was something. And the meat was fantastic. So we work with a lot of builders. Of course, I see some of you, which I meet many times. At the moment, we are working in Europe, of course, Turkey, States, and China. I never tried to reach. Actually, my first project was in Australia. At the very beginning, I had not one penny in the pocket. I was out of the Navy, and I invested all what I had. My family did not support me, actually, in an air ticket to Tokyo Boat Show. In Tokyo Boat Show, I met a guy, a Japanese guy, who did buy a little shipyard in Australia, Fastland Marine. And he said, I see you are Italian, maybe you can help me with design. And he flew me to Australia, and I did my first project. It was a 32-feet runabout, fast lane, quite successful, actually. Then I came back to Italy, and I said, I'm a famous designer. I worked a lot abroad. So. That was the way to start. Italy was not easy at that time, So we take care, of course, of interior, small boats, and larger boats. This is the last that came out from Rendsburg. And what we do, the family, you know, working with these owners, you know them, and then you start to be close to the family. They ask us to do also their houses. So we work also in furnishing and designing interiors. We do some side projects, you know, to assist them. We give consulting. This was a conversion project, which the project showed that was absolutely a nonsense to do it. So it would have cost more than build a boat from scratch. We give consultancy to companies that want to enter or to spend money in the marine, in the yachting business. This was interesting. The relation with Toyota was for us. Probably we learned more than what they learned from us. You know, the relation, learning how to relate to such a big company is something. It was an experience, actually. Very interesting, very interesting. The boat was okay, but of course I do not understand why they entered this, because certainly there's no economical reason for such a company to do it. I think they wanted to explore the semi-custom world. How is the relation with customers? Because they have to improve. Lexus is a very high considered, especially in the States, very high in the market, and they need to improve their customization process. This is another example. We designed a shipyard, the layout, production layout of this H&A shipyard. It was built, but then the project aborted. Typical Chinese situation. So let's talk about the motivations for yachting. Are the motivations that moved Florence Artaud? So fighting for the speed, fighting the elements, or Chichester, okay? Well, I don't think so. You know, the customers are not really motivated in this sense, maybe a little, just few of them. I think this picture shows better what are the motivations to yachting. And the average time of use of the yachts at sea, so running and crossing the sea, is minimal. Is minimal. Motivation are different. It's all about lifestyle. It's a completely different story. Sailing, meaning going at sea, is just a consequence, but certainly I don't think is the main reason. I tried to, you know, understand these motivations, and I think that yachting is moving between these two concepts, freedom and luxury, okay? Which they're intimately related. Everything is centered to yourself, your time, you know, the family, your friends. But then we have two ways to the customers are the customer we meet, and of course this is an arbitrary and very simple way to describe it, of course. I see that some of them are, few of them are really pointing and looking to the real sailing, the nature, stay away from crowds, you know, and also away from ordinary. I was speaking before with Doctor, and is probably one of them, a real yachtman, a person that really enjoys the sea and all what is related. On the other side, we had the luxury, which has very much to do with your ego, with the vanity, with privacy, certainly. And today, more and more, I see yachting going toward real estate, because it's becoming not anymore a sport, but really something related to real estate, which is something I don't like, but I cannot deny it. This is it. These things are very much related to styling. That's why I want to focus a little bit in the styling part of a design, because design, when we design a boat, At the beginning, we were doing also naval architecture. And for fiberglass boats, we still do it. But, you know, we have to specialize. So we specialize in the architectural part of the design. We start from scratch in many cases. Layouting the boat is the most important moment of the design. Styling is what people perceive, because our eyes are the most important mean of generating perception. And styling has much to do with these things. If we accept that real estate is important, that sailing is not, vanity and ego is important. Also, buying a nice house in Côte d'Azur would be the same then. Not really, because, again, your vanity want to show the yacht, the mega yachting. I'm going a little bit more in detail in talking about mega yachting. It's all about showing yourself, showing who you are, representing yourself. This is an old story. Mega yachting, I think this can be considered one of the first mega yachts. This is the Kaiser yacht in Venice, visiting Venice. I think this boat was built around here, maybe, I guess. This was representing himself, the power of the nation, because certainly was, why having a yacht, a state yacht, and not just visiting with a battleship? Well, visiting with a battleship was probably not considered polite, you know, going in with a... Britannia certainly is the most famous royal yacht, state yacht, went around all the world and represented and projected the power of England, of the empire, all over the world. Today there are not many royals anymore around, so the way to show you the power, you know, is changed. A little bit more modern. The battleships will follow, but this is the way they present themselves. And so I think that this can be considered the first, really the first modern mega yacht. It's all about lifestyle. The guy wanted to represent himself, his success, his lifestyle. He was related to shipping, of course, so what better mean of a ship? And the other thing that a mega yacht can do is moving. You can have your castle moved and placed in various locations, so you project yourself and your success wherever you go. You have your privacy, you can have your guests, your family, you know. So these are, in a simple way, let's say, some of the motivations of mega yachting. This is an example how the style tells a lot about the character of the owner. You may understand that when we designed this boat, talking to the guy, this is not a simple guy. I mean, you can perceive how aggressive he might be. Yeah, why not? Sure. When we design a boat, we have to dress somebody. If he's fat, we need to, you know, make it a little bit more slimmer. But when we style out a yacht, it's the opposite. We have to enhance the character. So in this case, I'll tell you, was not an easy guy. Also, this one, a boat we did in Ancona a couple of years ago, you can tell, you can understand how he wants to be represented. Also, okay, this was, can you see the picture is old because the name Opus is still there, but he had probably very clear idea how to be represented, and I think we succeeded in doing a good interpretation of what he wanted. When you see this, you immediately understand that the guy is looking to different things, not only because the boat is white. This is doesn't mean. This is a good example of when he came to the office. He was driving a black G Mercedes. I think the G is the off-road, okay? And immediately we thought, well, he wants something different, completely different. He could not exactly explain. It was difficult to come to this design. He could not explain exactly what he wanted, but finally, slowly we came to this kind of styling. It looks much, I mean, it's a bigger boat, but it's only 50-something meter. This is a family boat. They wanted something, understated, but recognizable. So we introduced that kind of mast, because the only thing that makes the boat different from any other boat are these two elements. Of course, this, which, by the way, is you have a great impression from inside, because this is the main stair, and crossed by this line. This is representing the design. The rest is a nice boat, but but this makes the boat recognizable also at 5 miles, This was another interesting project. Not easy. This was easier. They enjoyed this boat a lot. This was 2003 something, 2003, 2004. They sold the boat, I think, 3 years ago. And it was a family boat. They enjoyed the boat so much. It was very nice to work with them. Interior also represent very much the owner. You can see this, believe it or not, this is the interior of Black Pearl. And took clear inspiration from the yacht of the Tsar. Other have different ideas, and they want to be a little bit more modern and relaxed, let's say. This is a spa of the latest boat. Innovation. In styling, in everything, in all what we do, I think we need to always go forward and innovate in all fields. When we go to a shipyard and they say, well, you have to trust us, no problem, it's 30 years we are doing the thing in this way, then you have a problem. Then there is a ring and say, yes, sure, the tradition is very important, but the tradition can be our best ally, but also our worst enemy, because it stops you thinking. And especially in designing and in styling, we have to look forward and think what people will see after 5 or 6 years that the boat is launched. The boat is a lot of money. And we need also to protect the asset, not just to make something fantastic at the first day. So styling, I think, is extremely important in a general project, because, again, is what people see. We are all technical, and we tend to focus and look the things from one point of view. But the customers are not. They have a completely different perception. And we have to try to see the things from their window, not from our window. Innovation and going also doesn't mean that we need to do the wrong things, because this is very easy. Changing just for the sake of changing. And when I see things, renderings, and sometimes, unfortunately, many times, things built in the wrong way, I mean, it's a shame. Now I want to introduce you this latest design. I'm not talking about the general project, but I want to focus only on the design of this boat, because this boat has, as a characteristic, a styling characteristic, depending on which side you see, you have a very different perception of this boat. This is achieved by, well, by the proportions and by, of course, the three-dimensional design. But if you approach the boat from different angles, you have quite different impression. It's very much three-dimensionally shaped, and this helps a lot to hide the volume of this boat. The boat may look to you quite sleek, but indeed it's a very voluminous boat. And I think we achieved what we wanted. It's very much sculptured. There is a lot of detailing in the boat, done in a fantastic way, I have to say. And now I want to tell you something about some styling details which we developed in the time. These boats embodies a lot of them, and which I think they have been innovations in design, and in fact they have been adopted by the industry and by the general styling. One is the falling line, which is characteristic of many of our design. These falling lines, we can see it in many boats, and also the introduction of black masts. The first time we used this falling line was in the Palmer Johnson's 120 series. We wanted to, this boat is only 120 feet. Actually, it's quite high, and is not particularly fast. It's a boat of 28 knots. We wanted to give the impression of a sleek, low, very fast boat. So we had to, as we do with water lines, that you need always the longest possible, we wanted this eye line, as long as possible. And we wanted to express, strength. So this muscular, part of the boat is typical of these designs, is a little bit going back to the American cars, which are very fat in the back. Also, you can see it here in the 135s. This was Dragon. This was done for a German lady. Very nice, the interior of this boat. I don't have the pictures, but it was very interesting. You can see the use of the black mast. It helps a lot to take away volume from the boat, because today masts with all these domes, they are enormous, and if you don't try to squeeze them somehow, optically, of course, they obsess you because they are on top. And everything is on top looks twice bigger, by the way, by perspective. What you have on top of something is falling to you, so it doesn't help at all. Also in small boats, we use these falling lines. Excuse me, to the ladies, gentlemen, focus on the line of the hull, okay? I mean, this line. Yeah. Yeah, it's usually, we did use, this is Cantieri di Sarnico, it's a 46 series. Nice boat, successful, we did a lot of these boats. The same on this bigger 1 to 10, you see the falling line. And look, the mast. The mast, you barely see it, but if it was white, It was really falling on you. The mast is enormous. It hides in this boat a sort of a gym. There is a cage with glass and the gym. I did not really understand this choice, but he wanted the gym up there in the sun. Anyway, this was a bad attempt of doing a black mast in the front. It ended up to be a sculpture, more evident, more big, very ugly. You know, not all the cakes come out as you want. Again, same situation on this 175. The mast is, you don't see it. But there's another detail we introduced in styling years ago, is the use of black surfaces on the superstructure, on the forepart and the aft part of superstructure. We did use this many times, and also in Apple we did the same. Why? Well, because you can see it here. These parts are not awnings, these are metal. If we were painting them and shaping them at the same beam of the main superstructural lines, the boat would look much bulkier, and we would lose this sporty effect, which was the owner wanted. So this is basically the line that your eyes are looking. This is the envelope, let's say. But indeed, the aluminum is much longer. And this is very evident in this boat, because your eyes are catching this line, while this is less evident. But can you see how much volume there is here? If we were painting all the boat with, let's say, maybe another color in contrast, but bright, the boat was giving you, to your eyes, a completely different impression. We enhanced this line with this light. I don't have a night picture, but this is lighted, so from far away you recognize the boat by this line. I'm very proud of the majority of our projects because we fight for them. We fight a lot. This is the rendering, and it's 2017. And this is the boat. So I think what we designed, we did. And I'm really proud. And this sometimes is not easy, because you are tough. We have to fight. Yes, a lot. We have to fight a lot. But that's the only way. The designer should protect his design, because another thing it's important to note, in the past we were transferring ideas. When we began to work, we were transferring ideas by hand drawings, speaking a lot to the guys on the floor, they were tracing. They had the perception of what they were doing. Today, not really, because we transfer files, and all the process of transferring information and styling is very aseptic. The yard, the builders, understand the shapes just when the shapes is there, when it's welded. They have less perception at the beginning. So we need to protect it, because if they change something during the process, they don't know what they are changing, much less. Also in small boats, we adopted the same concept. This is an American boat. You see all this part is black. I'm not saying it's the only way to do things. I'm saying it's working. Of course, as also are pros and contras. A black surface horizontal under the sun is not a good thing, of course. But it works very well and pleased the eyes so much. It's so much appreciated by customers. Also in this boat, this was a very bulky boat, Adler. We tried to paint it white. It was really falling toward you. was not good. Black is not a secret, helps a lot. So it's always very, very, very good. The same in this boat. You can see the falling lines and the black surface. Your eyes are catching less volume. This is a tremendously voluminous boat, really fat. You can see it. It doesn't. But if it was designed traditionally, it was a palace. It was not a boat. It was a building. This was a sleek boat, but we did use this because we had a lot of surface here. These hoods are very big, very large, and you see. And they were not interesting, you know, this white surface. We had to do something. And also it helps a lot because for visibility from the wheelhouse, they're very, very useful. This was probably our most innovative design at the time, Alfa Nero. A very well-balanced and proportionate design. The main innovation was the introduction of the pool located here. The reason was yachts are becoming bigger and bigger. And on an 80-meter boat, you don't feel anymore on a boat. You feel on a ship. And you enter the ship. And you don't see the boat. When you board, you are already inside. I remember Theodore, the owner of this boat, he was always receiving guests here, you know, and saying, look, my boat. As on a sailing boat, which you see your boat. On a motor yacht, a lot of times you don't see your boat unless you are out of the boat. This is very important. And also the boat, a large yacht is lacking the beach, is lacking the contact with the sea. It's not good to swim here, you know. I mean, it's too big. The boat is coming toward you. So we had the idea to create a beach. You have your palace, your villa, and you have your yard, your garden. And I think this now is adopted by everyone. Not by everyone, but it's a concept very widely adopted. In emergency, you could also land the helicopter, not an easy operation, because the bottom of the pool is coming up. You can dance, you can drown your mother-in-law, because she's not a good swimmer, which helps. This was a variation of Alfa Nero design, but it's very similar as a concept. And again, we saw it. And now we see, after so much effort we do to do nice things with this, we see things. We see this thing. I mean, what is this? No, really, no. I mean, I spend all my life in designing, and then I have to talk to a shipyard, and I have to I mean, there's no common ground here. What can be the discussion? What can I tell them? Really, this is not a boat. This is not what we should do. Absolutely, we have to agree on this. Beauty is not subjective. There are rules. I mean, there are thousands of years of architecture and efforts of people. Okay, there is the customer. I know I have to sell to the customer as well. But we cannot always say, well, because the customer wanted, we did it. No, wait a minute. We have to try. We have to try to stand, you know, I wouldn't say fight, but we have to do our best, because otherwise it's wasting time and energy, okay? When we have to design also. Computers did not help, because computers are iterating things, and the design needs to start from a blank piece of paper. That's the only way to do a design. Proportions, but the ideas needs to start from scratch. Otherwise, you are simply taking old mistakes and you're carrying them on, and you are not innovating. So this is, for me, is essential. Now, this is not yachting, but what This is the power of market. This is not a rendering, this is a ship in Trieste. This is the main building is the terminal. This is not a ship. This is a shame. No, but okay. This is this is architecture, is a building on top of a barge, okay? But it's okay. If they sell the rooms, no problem. But, and then I cannot finish without talking about my beloved town, Venice. I mean, what is this? Can we accept this? And this is not a problem only of Venice. Every town which is hit by large mega liners have the same problem of low quality of tourism, of denying the beauty. I mean, a town which is beautiful is ruined by this. This is not a ship. Large shipping is, I call it temporary hotels, where you cannot build a hotel, you place a ship. That's it. Look. No. This is a real picture. And this is a hotel. Look. That's it. We cannot stand this. We have to fight. And in fact, I participated, I did what I could, and now things are in Venice are changing, but they are not changing in other places. Okay, a little bit of drama. This is what they left us, and we have to study the past, and we have to go. But we have a responsibility. Designers, I'm just a yacht designer, but the architects, they have a great responsibility. Big. If this is the trend, it's not good. One very last. Let's not take it too seriously, this yachting, because pet food turnover is 4 times the turnover of yachting. Thank you. Thank you.
Carlo.
Grazie.